This is the Barberpreneur Podcast, a mix between the art of barbering and the science of success.
Welcome to another episode of the Barberpreneur Podcast, where we like to sit down and talk about the business side of the barber industry. Today, I have the honor of being joined by David Raccuglia. David is the co-founder of American Crew, the single most successful brand in the world when it comes to styling products for men. With a 20-year business history and over $25 million in sales, American Crew has established itself as the leading brand when it comes to styling products for men. David is a pioneer of our industry, an icon to many of us, and an inspiration to any barber who dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Nice to see you.
I want to start off by talking about the era that you grew up in. What was the hair industry like back then?
Well, when I became a barber, barbering was truly on its way out. It was like the groovy 70s when men were wearing longer hair. They were going sort of unisex with their style. And, it was a good time, though, to come into barbering because I loved it and I learned it. And I was really excited about, the craft of barbering and the vintage looks of hair. So, I started in the late 70s and I went through a lot of cool eras before I got to American Crew. The 80s was a very interesting learning experience with hairspray bans, and it went from unisex to androgyny. It just sort of anything went. Then we came back into the 90s, grunge, and a lot of cool fashion came into men's grooming, and the really strong classic barbering vintage looks started to really pop up. I remember I was an editorial hairdresser back then. I was doing a lot of photo shoots doing hair for photo shoots. And I remember doing a shoot on Armani, and all the really classic suits that they were wearing had a 40s vibe. And I remember having to do the hair to match that. And it was awesome. And I got very inspired by that and thought, this is where men's hair has to go. And you can take that really perfectly coiffed hairstyle and just beat it up a little bit, and it looks damn cool. So, it had chops. It was, and it made me realize, wow, I need to go back and I need to find the right grooming products because they're just not out there that are going to give the depth that these looks need. And American Crew began on that day.
Was it all on your own, or did you have a group of people that actually helped you make this dream come true?
No, there was a lot of people involved. I was an owner of a salon at the time, even though I was kind of the driver of American Crew and the founder of American Crew. My partner, Lawrence Haggerty, was a very big asset. He was an incredible hairdresser, helped me immensely with testing product, conceptualizing, and then he and I went out and did a lot of hair shows together, focusing on the men's category. And what really put American Crew on the map was two things. I did a men's book with a photographer, Mark Havriliak was his name, really, really good photographer. As a matter of fact, he posted today on my website or on my Facebook page a picture from a book we did in the 90s. And it showed it's the book I'm talking about now. We did a men's book just on grooming, and that really set me on a path where I didn't want to do women's hair anymore. I wanted to continue to push the men's category to where I thought it could go. And that book we shot all over the world. It was very fun. And then when I started the product search for American Crew, we started doing education, and I put together a haircut series that I did called the Barbering Course. And that was the first thing we did for American Crew. And that was in 1993.
And what platform did you use to push that?
VHS tape. This is how old it was.
So you guys had to recreate a bunch of physical copies in order to actually be able to get it out there to the world.
And we sold more Barbering Course videos than we did hair products in our first year.
Wow.
So when American Crew launched, people were more excited about the education. The product came next, and we had to ultimately, we did shows all over. I mean, it was like, think of a rock band, creating songs, and then they had to go on the road, play in front of people, and get record sales to start picking up. And ultimately, there's no one person that makes a brand. I met incredible distributors. I remember a guy named a group of people that I met that when I launched the UK, I remember people that I met to launch the Netherlands, Australia. These people had a huge influence in their countries on the salons and barbershops that they worked with. So it was their credibility that platformed American Crew into these countries. And we just ultimately, and then a really big event happened in '96. Revlon, we sold to Revlon, and Revlon as a partner also had a global distribution all over the world. And so this brand was then spotlighted by a very, very good group of people around the world. And we held our own. We kept doing quality events, quality products. We were the real deal. Our authenticity as a brand, once it landed in these countries, pushed us to a very successful place.
Yeah, and it's crazy to see that some of the smaller things that you did back then are still bearing fruit to this day. It's very, very interesting to see how an idea can actually come to fruition. This is something that was in your head at one point. You looked at the industry, looked at the way people was rocking their hair, and you decided, you know what, they're going to need a tool to actually get this look. And I think that's a good segue into how this applies to barbers, right? Because, a lot of us, we're creating styles, and when we create the style on the individual, they may not be able to replicate or reproduce the same style. So do you see a difference in the way barbershops and hair salons operate? Because it seems like to me, the barber industry, they haven't really realized the kind of profits they would make if they sold more products. Do you think there is more room for growth in the modern barber?
Absolutely. I mean, you have to have barometers of measure in your businesses, right? Like, when you look at selling product, there's no quota. I've never sold anything because I had to do it, or I was trying to reach a sales goal. I sell it because I'm wildly enthusiastic about the need for that to be part of my world, right? I can't have somebody go home and then put some absolutely inadequate product on the hairstyle that I did. Man, I want them to top my hairstyle with something that, sorry, my earpod fell out, something that's absolutely perfect. So it's very, very important to understand that you're not selling, you're acquiring a customer. That's a long-term relationship. So, you do 10 haircuts a day, 12 haircuts a day, 14, some barbers do 18, if you sell a couple of products a day to 3 units, 4 units a day, you add that up at, $20. It's just easy to, I'm doing math in my head now. So, you sell $80 a day, you sell $400 a week, 5 days, you sell $1,600 a month, you times that by 12. You start looking at, if you don't own the barber shop or someone else does, you get a percentage of that. Heck, you pay your rent, you pay your car payment. You, as an owner, you should be able to do between 10 and 20% of your service dollars should come in retail. And it's important because retail is the grounding factor of your shop. You own a bar, a cool bar, you're very proud of the spirits that you serve. You take pride. You own a restaurant, you take pride in the ingredients of your food. All of these things are very similar to a barber, and their product range should have simpatico, man. They should go hand in hand. Like American Crew has to look good. It has, when somebody sees the product on the shelf, it has to have the right shelf talkers. It has to have the right merch. You want a brand that does everything for you. They need to do some heavy lifting. And I think we as a brand do that very well.
I think that's a good point because most barbershops, they're not aware of the benefits of selling product. Most barbershops are they're not commission based, they're booth rental. And when you do booth rental, you really have an incentive to get your guys to sell product on your behalf. But even if you are booth rental, you can get these guys, if you sell good product, it would add another level to your barbershop that most people don't actually have. Now, when me and my business partner, when we travel, we go to hair shows. We're about to go to Bronner Bros in Miami. We just got back from Orlando at the premiere. And every time we go, we're looking for products that can carry on our message. We don't sell dollar store products. We don't sell Walmart products. You can get those on your own. We sell quality products. This is why American Crew is one of the brands that we sell, for the fact that they have so many things, so many weapons that we can use to get the desired look. Whether somebody wants a clean, dirty look or a dirty, clean look, you can have something messy that looks clean and something clean that looks messy with product. So,
right.
I believe that selling product comes down to two very simple questions. What kind of hold would the consumer like? And what kind of sheen would they prefer? Could you educate our listeners on what a good product consultation would sound like?
Absolutely. The first thing you have to ask your customer to basically understand the hold factor is, do you run your fingers through your hair? I'm a guy who never stops running his fingers through whatever haircut I have, I tear it apart. That an extreme hold product would not be good for that person. I'm not saying an extreme hold product wouldn't look amazing on the person, but that might not fit their desired habitual, the way they like their hair. So you've got to understand how far people are willing to go. If you want to defy gravity, you got to have hold. If you want, something to be in place all day long and you're really, that's got to be perfected. Depending on the length that you're trying to support and hold down, you've got to have a heavy product. So it's understanding their vibe, what they do, how they wear their hair. I like to give my clients, back when I cut hair, I used to give my clients a brush and say, well, let me see what you do with this. Some of these guys would look like they were whacking themselves in the head with it. They didn't know how to use it. Or if they were good with parting it on the side, give them a comb. Ask them what they do. Because once you understand how they do it, how much time they put into it, might be a couple products they want. They might want one for that severe hold where they know they're going to rock it up. They're not going to have touch it. And then they might also want one that gives their hair a very loose, healthy, desired look. So product customers are very different. There's a lot of guys, they get up, they comb their hair in the morning, they put a little product on it, they style it. They don't look at that until the next day. And those guys, you can easily recommend a product. But people that have a look, man, let's face it, the music industry, these guys that, style is their thing, fashionable guys, barbers, guys, I've been spending a lot of time in going to pro baseball games these days. I can't get over how cool these pro baseball players look. They have meticulous beards, cool hair, it's all about their style. And so guys that really are overt with style have a different need for product than a guy who just wants to look good, but they're not willing to do much more than they do in the morning. You know what I'm saying? That they put it. So it's really getting to know your customers and what their habits are, and then challenge them a little bit. Let's say you're just about ready to finish their haircut. You see how cool their hair looks down. You could say to them, listen, I know what you use. You've been using a product to get that all back up. Are there days you just like wearing it loose because this looks pretty good on you? There might be a second styling product that would be opportunistic. And then let's not forget, shampoo is very important for scalp health. The right shampoo is also good if you sell them a very heavy product that has a high shine, high hold. You want a product that takes all of that off their hair, off their scalp, letting them know that this is going to help you maintain very healthy hair and very healthy scalp. So, you know, some people have a certain tolerance and they can only spend so much money on product. They're going to use their whatever's in the shower at home for shampooing. And, you know, there's different tolerance. Guys who really want the full regimen, you discuss this shampoo coincides beautifully with the hair products, styling products that you're using. It'll keep your hair and scalp in tip-top shape. So there can be your grooming experience, depending on the client. There's a lot to talk about. And there's a lot of money to make, and there's a lot of product to sell. And you're doing a service to your client by giving them the right products.
And I would second that too, because I think one of the most important things that I do in my career when it comes to hairstyles, a very good question that I ask is, are you high maintenance or low maintenance? So let's say somebody's been getting a buzz cut for a while. Let's say a 2 at the top, just buzz, short. And now they decide, you know what, I actually want to let it grow. I want to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And one of the things that I always ask them is, are you high maintenance or low maintenance? Do you want to just get up and go? Or do you want to actually sit there and style your hair in a way where you can actually get a look that you want? So that goes a lot into what kind of hairstyle I'm going to suggest to them based on how much time they want to dedicate to styling their hair in the morning. And I think that's a very good point that you make about the shampoo, because, you know, some of the times they complain about some products being too thick, and that their shampoo doesn't actually, you know, that they struggle getting the product off. But if you have the right shampoo, you won't struggle. You'll actually be able to get it off with ease, and you won't have to spend, you know, 5 extra minutes on your hair trying to get things off. So I think that's another good selling point that people can emulate and people could apply to their career. I want to talk a little bit more about the American Crew product line, since we're talking about getting so many different products to so many different looks. And something that I never really heard before was actually suggesting 2 styles for one, which is a great idea. And this is something that I'll forever be grateful to you about, because most of the time when I style somebody, I style one style. But I do know that, let's say if they have a comb over, they could also rock a fringe. And the fringe might sometimes be a better look. So you can cut hair in a way where it suits both. So you'll be able to sell 2 products at once for 2 different things. So let's talk a little bit about that product line. How many styling products are available to consumers?
Well, we have a very, very full range of styling. We have our pucks, which are our jar products, which are, of course, very serious products for, there's 10 in total, and understanding all 10 of those, you know, from one that has the least amount of hold, it basically doesn't have hold. It leaves a beautiful residue on hair and makes hair look denser. It controls it a little bit. There's hold and control. Control takes all the sort of bounce out of it. If you want it to not look frizzy and full, you want it to have a little, you know, you want it to look very natural and healthy. So, and then it goes all the way to our extreme hold products. And so our puck products are very specified for all textures of hair, all desired looks and all desired lengths. And there's a system there on how to choose. And we teach our barbers that. We teach them that, you know, fiber does this. Fiber is very matte. It's very heavy hold. You put it in place, it's going to stay. It's not going to have a high shine. Classic pomade. You know, this is a medium hold. You don't want your classic pomade look. The hair bends and it's a little more pliable. We have a heavy hold version of that as well, which locks it into place. Performing cream being a product that is sort of a hybrid product that isn't going to just freeze your hair. It's looser. You can get your fingers through it a little bit, and it still soaks into the hair and gives it a beautiful look. It's medium shine, not high shine. It gives a sort of a natural patina. And then from there, it just starts to get, you know, it goes into different categories. Our grooming cream is a very heavy product, a very strong hold, but the shine is different. It's not a glossy shine. It's more of a natural shine. So our products all have a story. And our story is for desired look, end result, and the customer that's using it it's confident in how it gives them confidence in how to sort of not only choose the right one, but we explain the dosage, how much you use. There's a story, there's an education. And if you get it right, it's a lifer. Unless somebody changes their hair all the time, which a lot of guys are classic. I've been buying the same denim shirts since the 80s. And, it comes out different. I buy the same khaki pants. They cut them differently, but it's the same material, the same look, just to fit a different era. So, and I love that about American Crew. American Crew's classic with the twist. We don't abandon our roots when a trend comes out. We might adapt the trend to us, but we don't abandon what works, because we're very serious about what we do, and the products that we make work, they perform.
I think your 20-year career speaks to that. Well, at least the American Crew 20-year career speaks to that highly. It's something that before I was even a barber, I already knew what American Crew was. A lot of people nowadays, they might get hit a lot of with smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of new products here, a lot of new products there, but they're not tested like American Crew. American Crew has defined consistency. You guys have been consistent for a long time. You guys are not going out of style. You guys are still found at every hair show, and that's one thing that I really appreciate about this brand. It's something that if you're somebody that you like the way that things are and you don't want change too much, American Crew is perfect for you. There's a lot of new brands that have come out and they're not here anymore. And that's for a reason. American Crew has been here for over 25 years, and that's for a reason. Now, if you guys want to get educated a little bit more on everything David is talking about as far as your styling tips and how to style and what product to use, you guys can go to americancrew.com, or you could just Google American Crew grooming tips. And on the website, they do a magnificent job of breaking everything down, even to the point that whether you were not interested in buying the product, let's say you don't sell any product, you will still learn so much from David and his people. They taught me so much, and I've been in the industry for a while. And the way that you guys have that education part set up in the website, I'm telling you, is state of the art. It's amazing. So I want to thank you for the work that you do with American Crew. I want to thank you for all the products that you guys have available for us as barbers. I think that, you told me something last time that we spoke, and you were saying how combs are even a good idea to sell because, you want the individual to be able to replicate or duplicate the look that you give them. And I think that if you sell the combs with the product, you will be able to do that to an extent that most barbers aren't doing it nowadays. Now, David, I want to jump into the rapid fire session. Are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Sure.
All right. What is one habit that has led to the most success of your professional career?
Intense caring.
For other people?
Everything. The project I'm working on, the people I'm working with. I care. I really do. It's not, I don't get up and phone it in. It takes a lot out of me, the work I do, because I care.
That's good, man. What is one thing that modern barbers seem to overlook?
The ability to cut and style long hair. Ooh. I think a lot of the modern barbers should understand that styling, being really good at styling and being able to teach and share that with your customers, give them all the tricks and tips is very important, because longer hair, not necessarily, just one length hair to your shoulders, but longer styled hair makes a lot of guys look very cool. We have to be able to be the best at all of that. So yes.
That is a very good point you make, because, most barbers are so concerned with their clipper game. What clippers do they have? How do the fades look? What about your edges? Are your linings okay? But to me, you're not a complete barber if you don't know how to work them shears and style hair in a way where the customer can be completely blown away. So I think
Right.
that's a very
That's
good
part
point.
of it's part of mastering the craft. There's no doubt about it.
Yep. Now, this is the last rapid fire question. If you could have a big billboard with a message for barbers, what would that message say?
Um, hmm. Keep showing up.
Every
Because
day.
truthfully, you know, it's how you get better. It's how you build a constituency. It's how, you know, if you just keep showing up and you feel really good about what you're doing, you'll create the environment that you're dreaming of creating. And I think in the barbershop world, that's what it is all about. You know, and be present when you show up. You know, when a customer used to come to me, I haven't been behind the chair in years, but when I was behind the chair, you know, everybody knew that sat in my chair that I mean, I left blood on the playing field, man. I wanted to know everything about them. I used to have people ask me why I asked so many questions. And I said, because I need you to give me all the answers to succeed. And so that's the way I did it.
That actually makes me feel a lot better because I'm the same way. I tend to ask a lot of questions. So hopefully asking all these questions will get me to the level that you got to. So really an inspiration for me, man. Where can people contact you and find out more about you?
You know, all anywhere through American Crew's website, American Crew Instagram. I'm reachable.
Cool. All right. David, a pleasure to speak with you again, brother. And I
wish you, my friend.
Best of luck in everything you do.
Call me anytime.
You got it. Take it easy,
Thanks.
brother.
See you. Bye.
This is the Barberpreneur Podcast, a mix between the art of barbering and the science of success.